Good afternoon and welcome to Portal TV. I'm your host, Tim O'Connor. Welcome to SyTech episode 42. Dr. Harold Sonny White. Who, you might ask? Dr. Harold Sonny White is a NASA researcher who works at the NASA Eagle Works, their version of Skunk Works at Johnson Space Flight Center, who believes going faster than light is indeed possible. He bases his statement on the work of Mexican theoretical physicist Miguel Alcubierre, who in 1994 wrote a theoretical math paper that found loopholes in the rule that the speed of light was the absolute speed limit in our physical universe that any object could travel. Basically, the paper said that if one could warp space behind an object to expand that space, and warp space in front of an object to contract that space, not unlike a surfboard on a wave, the object would move much faster than the speed of light in actuality, without actually going faster. Because in reality, it has not moved at all. That's right, zero acceleration. What? White is trying to find proof of these loopholes by moving the theoretical to experimental. In fact, they've created a device for testing exactly this, the White-Jude warp-filled interferometer. This is a modified Michelson interferometer that uses a 633 nanometer beam from helium neon laser. The beam is split into two paths, with the warp spacing device placed in or near one beam path. The space warp would induce a relative phase shift between the split beams that should be detectable, provided that the magnitude of the phase shift created by the change in apparent path length is sufficient. Best of all, faster than light travel of this nature would have no time dilation, no acceleration, and no undue stresses inside of that warp bubble. So wait, not so fast. Impulse engines only, please. Physicists have argued for years that the amount of energy, worse exotic energy, which we do not have yet, needed to accomplish such a feat would have to be the size of Jupiter or larger, much larger. Some have stated it might take all the energy in the known universe. White and his team have discovered that the energy requirements are much lower than previously thought. In fact, if they optimize the warp bubble thickness and oscillate its intensity to reduce the stiffness of space-time, they would be able to reduce the amount of fuel to manageable amounts. Instead of a Jupiter-sized ball of exotic matter, you would only need 500 kilograms to send a 10-meter bubble, that's 32.8 feet, at an effective velocity of 10 c. That's 10 times the speed of light. We would be able to visit Gliese 581g, a planet similar to Earth, 20,000 light-years away, in just 2 years. Visit Alpha Centauri, our nearest neighboring sun, in 2 weeks, Mars in as little as 20 minutes, and the Moon in seconds. Of course, then you'd have United Spaceways baggage claims and waiting for delays due to space weather and terrorist threats, so add at least another 6 hours to your flight time and you'll be a modern space traveler. Remember, it took Magellan 3 years just to circumnavigate our planet. Now, unlike the warp nacelles of Star Trek vintage ships, at least in our early attempts at FTL travel, the first real warp ships would have rings around them that would create the warp bubble. These stunning new renderings released by NASA gives a conceptual idea of just what a ship like this might look like. Of course, as soon as we turn on a warp field, the Vulcans will be here anyway, so, there is that. Now, will this happen in our lifetimes? Possibly. If we can prove in the lab it is possible, then the serious taxpayer funds will start flowing from the government if we demand it. I can foresee test rigs built, small probes if you will, that will test the theories in actual practice going from Earth to the Moon, Mars, the gas giants, the heliosphere, and back. Think of the jobs. Going from one end of the solar system to the other would be like a couple days road trip cross country. Staggering possibilities. Now, let us not get into all the geopolitical stuff and how our governments will try to pass laws to own and control whatever is found out there. Such hubris. Space, the final frontier, my space cadets. One day, and we might actually see the beginning of it all in our own lifetimes. In movie news, biggest new movies to hit theaters this weekend were How to Train Your Dragon 2 and 22 Jump Streak. All the old cast of voices is back with Dragon, and it would be a fun experience to watch indeed. Now, 22 Jump Streak with Jonah Hill and Channing Tatum looked to be a new fun romp in the neighborhood as these two misfits again attempt to do the right thing. Well, maybe not always. So in movie news, let me bring you the latest. Now, 22 Jump Street in its first week with an undisclosed budget did $60 million domestically, $20 million in foreign revenue, for a total worldwide of $81 million. Now, its IMDb rating is an 8.1 out of 12,000 votes. How to Train Your Dragon 2, also in its first week with an undisclosed budget. I bet it's about $200 million. You wait and see. Domestically, it did $50 million. Foreign, it did $26 million for a total of $76 million worldwide. Its IMDb rating is actually an 8.7 out of 10,000 votes. Now, for the top movies of this past week, The Fault in Our Stars, in its first week, with the $12 million budget, did $81 million domestically, $39 million foreign, with a worldwide $121 million overall. It's got an 8.5 rating on IMDb out of 19,000 votes. Maleficent, in its second week, with the budget of $180 million, has done $164 million domestically, $273 million internationally, for a worldwide total of $436 million. Its IMDb rating, though, is lower, however, at only a 7.5 out of 45,000 votes. Edge of Tomorrow, in its first week, with a $178 million budget, has only done $57 million domestically, but it has done $181 million in foreign revenue for a total worldwide of $238 million. It has a high IMDb rating of 8.2 out of 53,000 votes. X-Men Days of Future Past, now in its third week with a $200 million budget, has done $206 million domestically, $456 million internationally, for a total worldwide of $662 million. It has a very high 8.5 rating at IMDb out of 147 million votes. Now, A Million Ways to Die in the West, which it doesn't seem to be doing well, is still one of the top 5 movies in the nation. It's in its second week with an undisclosed budget. It's done $39 million domestically, $20 million in foreign revenue, for a total of about $59 million worldwide. Its IMDb rating is only a 6.4 out of 17,000 votes. Finally, Godzilla, still stomping around in its fourth week with the budget of $160 million, has done $191 million domestically, $248 million internationally, for a total of $440 million worldwide. Its IMDb rating is hovering at 7.2 with over 115,000 votes. Now, personally, if I had unlimited time and money, I would see Maleficent, Edge of Tomorrow, and Dragon 2. I think Edge of Tomorrow is a movie that really needs to be seen. It's got a very high rating. Maybe people are getting tired of Tom Cruise. I don't know, but Tom Cruise and Emily Blunt, she's pretty hot. Yeah, I'd definitely go see that movie, just for her. Now, finally, last week it was reported Harrison Ford, 71 years of age, was injured on the set of Star Wars 7. He was helicoptered to a nearby hospital. Early rumors, headlines had said he was crushed, but as it turns out, he sustained an ankle injury of undisclosed severity. He's stable and being treated at the hospital. Meanwhile, the shooting schedule has been rearranged and filming continues on Star Wars 7. That's all I have for my movie news this week, and also all I have for SyTech number 42. Now, on to gaming.